Hey everybody, it's Dylan again. It's been quite some time since I've actually made a video. I wrote down kind of what I was going to say this time, just because I will get lost during this video. This is my 5-year Auntie sort of update, and for those of you that don't know anything about me, um, I graduated from college in 2011. I have degrees in neuroscience and linguistics, and I've worked as a personal trainer. I've worked in research. I'm the founder of Trans Pride Pittsburgh. I have a lot of random things that I've done in my life, but one of the more interesting things is that I started this channel about 5.5, 6 years ago, right before I started transitioning. So there are videos from before my transition all throughout. And if you want to see anything, see my progress through that, you can go back and check them out. I stopped noticing those major physical changes around 2.5 years on though hair continued to sprout up in various places, especially my face. I didn't even noticeably have facial hair until about 1.5 years on T. And as far as periods are concerned, I got my first T shot, and that same day I got my last period. So I never really had to go through that awkwardness of buying tampons as a man. So I'm pretty grateful for that. I have the luxury of being small-chested and muscular, so I can pretty much wear a shirt and have been able to wear no shirt. I mean, whenever I want. It's just I'm not comfortable doing it a lot of the time. I went from being about 115 pounds to 145 pounds, the last 10 or 12 of which were extremely hard to gain, and it's hard to keep when I try to eat a lot. Went from benching about 90 pounds to about 190 pounds, so it did take a lot of work over the last 5 years, but I'm really proud of what I've achieved. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that when I first started transitioning, every day was something new, and every week my video could show another part of the process, and I really started to care about the clothes that I wore. Everything was about passing to me, and I could finally make my style my own. It's a little part about it, but it's important. Never had any dysphoria surrounding my lower parts. I have, however, experienced great suffering due to the loss of my hair. I shouldn't really care as much as I do, but that's what hair transplants are for. And I mean, aside from top surgery, my physical being and transformation is really not as exciting as it used to be. More difficult parts of my transition, they come later when you fall back into your ordinary life. You start learning how you need to behave in order to be safe. And I'll be the first to say that I straighten up my personality in certain circumstances, particularly when I've been working with clients at the gym, when I'm by myself at night. You start being the person also that women cross the street to avoid at night, and you're also the person that people are afraid to hit if you run your mouth too much. And if you're like me, you haven't had your name changed yet, you have to come out over and over again. And sometimes when you really don't want to, and people feel like they are owed an explanation when you come out to them, and I'm not one of those people that will just give that explanation the first time I meet somebody. I don't feel like my story is public information just because my name's different. And I used to feel differently about that. I used to be so much more open if people didn't know, and then I realized I have a right to privacy, and if I don't feel like saying something, I don't have to. And another thing I've realized with my transition is that you never really stop wondering what if. Before transition, you wondered, what if you don't do it? Will you ever be happy? What if this goes wrong? But you still wonder, what if about the rest of your life, the past? You miss certain parts of your life, and that never goes away. You miss the simplicity of it, miss being able to be visibly queer, miss lesbians being interested in you. You might miss being the strongest, most athletic woman you know, and you miss maybe not being able to have children. And when it comes down to it, though, all of those things, I would never really trade them for anything. I wouldn't go back, even if all of those things could come back. And that's how I know I made the right decision. I think the weirdest thing about my transition is that I've been seriously depressed for the last 9 months. I mean, I've been to the psych hospital 4 times since September, one of which followed a severe injury to my back that, I wasn't sure I was going to walk again. I'm unemployed. I don't have any prospects for my future. I'm stuck. I feel like I'm wasting my life, and I feel isolated. I feel like a failure. I want to use my mind and my degrees and be something more than I am now, and I keep coming back to the idea that this isn't me. It has absolutely nothing to do with my physical body. It's an entirely different kind of dysphoria, but it's that intensity that it makes me think it's just so ironic that it has nothing to do with physical presence, but it's still just as important a part of my identity. But one of my most important main points about that is that there's always going to be something more than your transition, even though you may not see it until much later in the process. In the beginning, you're consumed with your transformation, and you're excited to talk about it all the time, and you take every opportunity you can get to teach anyone who will listen for more than 5 minutes. But eventually, you just want to be the guy that walks from the bar to grab a drink, without having to engage in identity politics discussions for hours. You just want to be a guy. And there are days you don't think about it at all, and then it's going to trip you up. You just may think about it as soon as you have to go to the bathroom, and you're like, oh, okay. Or if you look at your ID like me. But I don't think about it in a negative way anymore. I have the privilege of having experienced the world both as a man and a woman, and it gives me knowledge to which very few are privy. It's going to make me a better advocate, better teacher for the trans community. It'll make me a better lover and a better parent and a better ally for those people who need me. I also got engaged this November to a cisgender gay man, and that has quite its own bit of challenges because, as we know, trans lesbian culture is quite different than gay male culture. Sometimes I feel way too straight for them, and then sometimes I just feel like a fish out of water. My relationship has actually been pretty hard to describe. On the surface, we just appear to be two ordinary white gay men, and that itself causes a lot of people to believe that neither one of us could have any understanding of minority issues or care about them. People have a lot of expectations about both of us, and we kind of just laugh them off, but it still puts a stress on the relationship. He even forgets my transness sometimes. He actually was going to ask me jokingly if I was ever a Boy Scout because I couldn't tie a knot, and he stopped himself because he realized how silly that sounded. But it didn't occur to him in that moment that I was trans, and that's what I love about it. It's not something that we categorize ourselves as a gay man and a queer trans man. We're just two people that love each other, and even saying two men who love each other is still not quite capturing what we have. I'm normally not really okay if I can't identify something, but the very fact that our relationship can't be boiled down to a few simple words is what makes it really beautiful to me. So, I'm 5 years on T, and I'm coming to you as beautiful but still broken. I'm depressed and at the same time in love with my body and what I've been able to do with it. I really do fight with myself every day, and it really hasn't gotten easier at all. I wonder if it ever will. But I do have some hope for the future today. Not every day is like that. A lot of days I don't even want to get out of bed. But I had enough energy today, enough strength to finally do this video and come clean about it and show you what it's like 5 years down the road. Thanks guys, and see you later.